Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing some breaking news in regards to Brighton forward Joao Pedro, because Sky Sports have reported that Chelsea are now in talks with Brighton over a move for the 23-year-old. Newcastle obviously interested, had a bid of around £50 million rejected earlier this week. But this is the latest news as the pursuit of Joao Pedro really starts to heat up. Keith Downey, Sky Sports correspondent, talks continuing between Newcastle and Brighton over a deal for Joao Pedro. Brighton rejected Newcastle's £50 million offer during the week. Gap in valuation exists with Brighton looking for around £60 million for the forward. Newcastle must be careful though with a certain amount to spend this window, and other areas need to be improved. Chelsea are also in talks with Brighton over the Brazilian. Now, this is interesting because Chelsea are obviously looking for a versatile forward. Joao Pedro definitely ticks those boxes. I actually like the profile of the player, but I can understand why people might feel a bit cynical, a bit frustrated, a bit pissed off, because it's another player from Brighton, and it's a pretty high transfer fee. However, if you look at the players that we've signed from Brighton, Cucurella and Caicedo are two of our best players, but then you've also got Robert Sanchez. So it could kind of fall into one or two categories, or maybe somewhere in the middle. I actually think Pedro is a lot better than people actually give him credit for. But again, I think the price is probably slightly on the high side. But as we discussed before with certain deals, if you want a player and you feel he's going to make that much of a difference and you really like him, sometimes, you maybe have to spend more than you actually would have been prepared to spend in the first place. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one develops. Newcastle are definitely keen. And Ben Jacobs reported earlier this week, it might have even been yesterday, to be honest, that Brighton have rejected two offers worth in excess of £50 million for Joao Pedro. Newcastle and another unnamed Premier League club have both had bids rejected in the past few days. Now, unless there's an unknown Premier League club that we don't know about that's interested in Joao Pedro, I think it's pretty safe to suggest that the unnamed club, there's a high chance that was Chelsea. A high chance that was Chelsea. Obviously, we know that we've got interest in Pedro. He remains a player of interest. Fabrizio Romano reporting that conversations are taking place and that they're following him closely. I suspect that, Ben Jacobs said that Newcastle will improve their offer. I've got no doubt about that. I suspect we might see Chelsea come to the table or return to the table with an improved offer as well. Now, we've heard Pedro's Brighton teammate Igor Tudor saying in an interview that Pedro would prefer a move to London, and if any offers come from London, he will be prioritising those when it comes to his future. Now, Joao Pedro is an interesting player. Brighton made him their club record signing for £30 million from Watford a couple of seasons ago. He's a versatile forward, can play as a 10, can play wide, can play through the middle. He's a really interesting profile. And he would definitely, fill a much-needed space in the squad with Christopher Nkunku and Joao Felix expected to leave in the summer. Pedro scored 10 Premier League goals last season, the same amount of Premier League goals as Nicholas Jackson. But again, it goes to the point where if Joao Pedro is going to cost you 60 million and you're going to commit that much money to him, maybe you get to a stage where wouldn't you be better off spending an extra 10 million and getting Mohamed Kudus in? I don't know who would be a better fit for Chelsea out of Kudus and Pedro. I think there's positives to both. Kudus is obviously a very talented player. He's a year older than Joao Pedro, but Kudus again is great on the right hand side. He's probably better on the right than Pedro is. Through the middle, probably similar. In the number 10 role, maybe a bit similar. On the left, I don't think there's really too much in it. But yeah, if you think Kudus is the better player, or Kudus is going to improve the team more, it's going to suit Enzo Maresca's system better, then why would you not just spend the extra 10 million that it might cost to bring him in. But yeah, just as I'm recording this video, Ed Aarons from The Guardian confirming what I suspected and just mentioned, that the rejected bid from the unnamed Premier League club was Chelsea, and talks are ongoing. So at this stage, guys, it looks like Joao Pedro is the priority target over Mohamed Kudus at this point in time. Now, could Chelsea sign both Kudus and Pedro? It's not an impossibility, but you would have to suggest that it is quite unlikely for that to be the case. And maybe Joao Pedro is going to be the next one through the door after Jamie Gittins, with a deal very close for Gittins as well. But all these forwards are going to cost you a similar amount of money. Pedro, Kudus, in and around that £60 million mark, maybe a little bit higher for Mohamed Kudus. But yeah, let's see how this one develops. It's going to be an interesting battle between Chelsea and Newcastle. Obviously, we can both offer Champions League football, but the London lifestyle could be a big factor because, players want to live in London, particularly if they've got partners, girlfriends or whatever. They like the London lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, family and stuff is a big part of a player's thinking behind the move. And whether we like it, whether people like it or not, a lot of people would rather live in London than live in Newcastle. I love going to Newcastle, by the way. Great city, great place, great people. But the London lifestyle does have a big pull. And between Chelsea and Newcastle at this point in time, in terms of the quality of the teams and whatnot, and the direction the clubs are heading in, there's not an awful lot of difference between the two. Obviously, Chelsea have definitely got the history and whatnot. And if Pedro wants to live in London, over the long run, you'd expect maybe he'd have a better chance of winning trophies at Chelsea than he would have at Newcastle. But it's going to be interesting. I would really like to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. But it looks like Joao Pedro is going to be the guy for Chelsea or for Newcastle. Now, of course, we've got other names on the list. If we miss out on him, Kudus, maybe go back in for Ekitike. There could be one or two others that we don't know about that are on the list, and a surprise deal could potentially appear out of nowhere. We just really don't know at this point in time. We really don't know at this point in time. But yeah, Pedro, interested to know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think a move of Pedro is good? Is the price too much? Would you prefer Mohamed Kudus? Is Mohamed Kudus a better fit for Chelsea than Mohamed Kudus would be? Let me know, guys. But as things stand, Chelsea and Newcastle have both had bids rejected in excess of £50 million. Talks are ongoing. Could it be Gittins and Pedro arriving at Stamford Bridge in time for next season? But yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on the latest breaking news. Chelsea are in talks with Brighton over a move for Joao Pedro. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here. Up the Chelsea. Catch you again in another one soon, and I'm out. Peace.